ridiculous as half the 50-year-old men on the planet having a crush on me. And if you remember what I looked like,
Right.
I mean, I look like a little, whatever. Anyway.
What were you going to say? Were you going to say tomboy? Is that what you're going to say?
I was rolling around to it, yeah.
All right. Now, I wanted to spell
But
that.
I'm all girl.
I think, no, seriously, you grew up in a family of guys, all right, with just...
I was wearing her clothes.
Yeah, with your mom. I think you did a great job of exuding femininity.
Thank you very much, Mark. And you know what? I did too. I mean, I knew I was the tomboy, but I also knew that, like I said, Davy Jones and I were going to, be married one day. And
right.
But anyway, I think it's kind of a cool idea, and I would love to. I've been thinking about it for a while, and always wanting to pay it forward somewhere.
Right.
And what I don't know. It's just such a quirky thing to pay it forward with. So you want to help me out with it, and me and you can. Oh,
I'm completely behind this idea. I mean, Steve, what do you think?
I think. Well, she's had experience helping other organizations, so this would be right down her alley.
It is down my alley, and I don't know. God, there's so many. Maybe we could just split it up over a bunch of things.
Right.
I've got a stake in autism. I clearly have a stake in abused families. In fact, another thing that I'm working on, Russ and I, my husband, who's like the salt of the earth and my partner in crime, is would like to get into going into schools as we're touring and speaking with high school and grammar school children about abuse that might be going on in their home, and hopefully and in a kind of music therapy kind of way to share that there's many ways out, and that they're not alone, and there's other ways to express yourself besides drugs and alcohol and crime and
living a life of debauchery.
Turn out like me.
Yeah, right.
There is hope at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
There's a lot of things like that I really hope I get to accomplish before my time here is done.
Okay. Well, look, I tell you what. That's what we're going to do. We're going to work that out. It might take a little while. Cool. But we're going to make this happen. I'm serious.
I think it's awesome. Yeah. I'm glad. You're the first one to, other than Henny, because he was my champion on it.
Is that right?
Oh my God! Yeah, it was almost his idea.
No,
he likes to think it was. And
as soon as you start telling me that today, I immediately thought that's something I want to get behind. I would love to get behind something.
Awesome, dude.
Well, I mean, it's a novelty on some level, but it's like it's actually a beautiful thing because look,
it is a beautiful thing.
It really is. It's a quirky idea, but the end result is something that could be actually very beneficial, and I love that.
And every guy that's ever said it to me, he meant it, and so that's beautiful in of itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's innocent beauty.
No, I don't know
right
I don't know what it's like, but I'll take your word for it. I've not had people come up to me and say, "Oh, Mark, I've always had a crush on you." Never have.
You know what it's like to have had a crush on me, right?
Yeah, I know. Definitely. Yeah.
So that's a sweet, innocent, beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well,
makes me cash.
now you've done a couple albums recently. The most recent one being, of course, Lighthouse, and before that, Just Believe It, and I want to get into that stuff too because we've been listening to it. Steve and I and Daniel have been taking turns like listening to your music and talking about it. And can you tell us? Because you know what, I've got a song from Lighthouse queued up. I asked Dan to queue up Avenue of the Indians. And, And I'm wondering, could you tell everybody about Lighthouse and how that came about?
Sure. You want me to tell about the album first and then tell you about Avenue of the Indians?
Yeah, tell us about it all. Yeah.
Okay. Lighthouse is a direct result of Hurricane Katrina because I live in New Orleans, Louisiana, and have for the last 20 years.
All right.
My daughter was born and raised here, and this is my home away from home.
Right.
If Newport is my home. And Katrina is, Lighthouse is my end result musically of the 5 years that we spent. Just Believe It we put out just before Katrina And actually, the Lighthouse, Just Believe It was coming out in September, and Katrina hit in August.
Uh-huh.
So Just Believe It kind of, which was my swan song, which was my life's work.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I had been writing all those songs since I was 30.
Oh, really?
And,
so this is a real work in progress.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And then Katrina came and changed my life in every way.
Mm-hmm.
We lost my husband and I and our children,
right.
and all of our city and families lost everything that they knew, and I lost a whole brother in the process.
Right.
And it took a lot of time for me to get back up on my feet.
Devastating.
To make another record.
That had to absolutely devastate you.
Yeah. Yeah. It like we say, everything happens for a reason,
mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't take back anything.
Right.
Because it's it makes us who we are.
Right.
However, so Lighthouse is just a culmination, a musical expression of all the situations, emotions, feelings, mm-hmm. and life lived from Katrina on.
Wow.
Very dear to my heart, as is Just Believe It, because Just Believe It was like a child who never, got adopted out, never
right.
got to see its light of day.
Mm-hmm.
Except in a career level, okay?
Right.
Mm-hmm. On a personal level, my music, starting with Just Believe It and Lighthouse, is people have come to me and told me that it has assisted them in times of trouble and in happiness and sorrow. And to me, that's way more important than a monetary goal, but the cash.
And hey, isn't this ironic? One of our listeners at the moment is called Katrina.
Really?
How about that?
Seriously, awesome. Absolutely seriously.
That's freaking awesome. Yeah. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
So, Avenue of the Indians
mm-hmm.
is an important song.
Right.
Because, they're all important. But that song I wrote about just before we left Rhode Island. We lived in two spots. We lived in Middletown, Rhode Island, and in Newport. But it was a 2-year span. The last 2 years we were at home. Mm-hmm. And Avenue of the Indians is about my family, my brothers and I, just before everything changed. And we were still just children running the streets, running the forests
right.
and the woods, and just being the kids we were.
Yeah, a life of innocence, so to speak.
A life of innocence with overtones
right.
of the underlying situation that was going on.
Right.
And it's an ode to my brothers.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And what was really cool was having Jackson agree to and loan up his studio in L.A. to let me mix my whole record there for free.
Well, that's right. Our listeners probably don't know. Jackson? Jackson who? Action Jackson? Which Jackson would that be, Susan?
Jackson Brown.
The one and only, huh?
The one and only.
So what happened? Did he contact you, contact him? You bump into each other on the street?
He and I have known each other since I was 14.
Oh, wow.
And, his... Okay. My first boyfriend's sister was his wife.
Oh, really?
The woman who, Phyllis, who ended her life early in 1976. I don't know if you're familiar with that story.
No, I'm not. I had no idea.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
So Jackson and I have been friends for many, many years, and he's a generous, loving, sweet... I call him the Ben Cartwright of rock and roll.
Oh, wow. All right.
Ben Cartwright was always trying to fix everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
and take care of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in all of his albums, you could just tell, like his musicianship, his arrangements, everything was obviously very well thought out. The guy was no schlep. Yeah,
no, he's an amazing man.
Well, I'll tell you, it comes through on this album, on Lighthouse. It definitely comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'd like to get to that right now. The Avenue of the Indians. Who all plays on the song, by the way?
Okay. It's me, Russ, Sam, and Jack Kraft. Who else? Maybe Jansen Lohmeyer. And me.
That helps. Yeah, you should be in this one.
And Ted Armstrong and Aaron Stroop.
Okay.
And Jackson Brown.
Yeah, Sandcraft violin.
Am I right? Do I have it right?
Yeah. And Jason Lohmeyer on keyboards.
Jansen Lohmeyer, yes.
All right.
And is it Tad Armstrong and Aaron Stroop?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, you know what you're talking about. You go, girl. Yeah, and even
I assume she knew what she was talking about. She was there.
Yeah,
so.
right. Well, you know, there's a lot of songs, huh? I mean, you mix and match musicians on stuff sometimes, and even Susan.
Right.
Look at this. Even Susan Cowsill sings on this and plays guitar.
Oh my God!
Look at that. Who'd have thunk? That's amazing. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, now on Mark Mercer's Loving, Caring, and Sharing, off of Susan Cowsill's. What was this? 2010. This came out. Is that right? Yeah, 2010. Lighthouse. Avenue of the Indians.
I can still hear the sounds of hammers echoing through the woods as I stand in someone's driveway where our trees and treeforts stood. I can taste the yellow flowers that are sweet upon my tongue on the Avenue of the Indians. One for all and all for one. On the shores of childhood mystery, we signed our names in blood and pledged our voices to the wind, our loyalty to the sun. And the days ran on forever till we heard a whistle blow on the Avenue of the Indians, buried deep inside our souls. Ready or not, here I come. I will never say goodbye to you, just to fare thee well, my friend. I won't worry how to find you, 'cause I know just where you'll be, on the Avenue of the Indians, where we'll set our spirits free. Mason-Dixon line, anyone. I can hear him coming, everybody run, oh, everybody run.
And Avenue of the Indians off of Susan Cowsill's Lighthouse album. Susan, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate that.
Loving it.
I'm glad.